Glitch is awesome. As an Australian, it makes me so happy to see an independent Aussie animation studio see so much success. And the quality of what they put out ranges from pretty good to indescribably peak. I wanted to make a video about the studio as a whole, so today I'm going to be ranking all of the pilots they've put out over the years. Before I start, I did not forget about Medarunner and Sunset Paradise. Those shows simply do not have pilots. Just because Sunset Paradise's first episode is called Pilot doesn't mean it's a pilot. It literally ends with Kevin and Luke saying the series is already in production. That being said though, there is still one pilot from the old era of Glitch to discuss today. So without further ado, let's begin. In 5th place, I have Ultra Jump Mania. Now I know what you're thinking, what the fuck is that? This is the only Glitch pilot that didn't become a full series. It would have been a spin-off of Glitch's first show, Medarunner, following that show's deuteragonist Theo. Well, kinda. If you haven't watched Medarunner, Theo is a video game character from a 3D platformer game called Ultra Jump Mania. But the one we follow in the show is a very specific Theo from a very specific cartridge of Ultra Jump Mania. And this pilot is about a different Theo. That's where I think the main problem comes from. I like Theo, but I like him within the context of Medarunner, and more specifically his friendship with Tari. If you take that away, he's just a happy little dude. I'm not saying you couldn't make Theo a compelling character without Tari, but this pilot doesn't really do anything to show that. The plot is incredibly basic, just Theo going through one of his game's levels unconventionally, but overall, it's pretty obvious why this never went anywhere. If I wanted to watch Theo go on an adventure, I'd just rewatch Medarunner. I give it a 6 out of 10. Now it's time for the pilots you clicked on this video for. In 4th place, it's Murder Drones. I love this pilot so much. I have a lot of issues with Murder Drones as a whole, but just looking at the pilot alone, I really can't think of much I dislike about it, except for the colors being super desaturated. It can look really dull visually at times. But other than that, it's amazing. I love that the opening scene is just a big exposition dump, but it feels so natural by framing this as Uzi's presentation that goes against what her assignment was. On a surface level, this is just blatant exposition, but once we learn the context, it tells us so much about Uzi, how she's an outcast, but she doesn't let how others view her stop her from speaking her mind. Something I really love is the title. Now yes, this episode is called Pilot because it's the pilot, but it still works as an actual title, since the inciting incident is Uzi meeting N, who is a pilot. This is when I think Glitch's animation started to get really good. The fight scene of Uzi and N versus V and Scourge has amazing choreography, and not only that, but the way they fight tells us a lot about their characters. V is very aggressive and doesn't mess around. She's got a job to do, and she's gonna have fun doing it. Meanwhile, Scourge is a lot more egotistical. She loves boasting and taunting her enemies, which is what leads to her downfall. The plot that was being set up was super intriguing. The idea of a human colony planet falling to shit and being overtaken by the robots humans made, only for the humans to doom themselves by sending murder drones to kill off all the robots, rather than just simply leaving them alone, leading to those original worker drones making the murder drones realize that the humans don't actually care about them, which then leads to them coming back to Earth to kill all humans. That's a really cool take on a robot apocalypse. Now, whether or not the show itself actually followed up on this setup doesn't matter, because I'm not talking about the show as a whole. Murder Drones had an amazing pilot, 8 out of 10. I love the Owl House. So when it was announced that Dana Terrace, Zach Marcus, and John Bailey Owen were making a pilot with Glitch, I was hyped. And Knights of Guenevir absolutely lived up to that hype, claiming its spot as my 3rd favorite pilot from Glitch. What I really like is how every character has a very different perspective on this world. Reggie only gets one scene, but from it we see he has a very straightforward view. The Crownings up top are bad, and everyone who associates with them is bad. But of course, the most interesting characters are the protagonists, Andy and Frankie. Andy is super interesting. I love seeing a story about a victim of an oppressive system working for her oppressors, because she's been so oppressed by them that she has no other choice. And then there's Frankie, who also has her own unique perspective. Sure, she obviously still doesn't like how this world works, but she still recognizes that there are some benefits to the park because she experienced meeting Guenevir as a child herself. I like how despite both of them being present to meet her, Frankie and Andy were affected in very different ways by this event. Again, it helps to show how all these characters are individuals, each with their own distinct perspective. The encounter of Guenevir didn't affect Andy much, but it had a permanent effect on Frankie, leading to her seeing the benefit of Andy working for the park. Despite the negative outcomes of what the park does, it still helps bring joy to so many children who get to have that same experience that Frankie had. And I haven't even gotten to Guenevir herself. She's a very interesting character, a robot who has multiple bodies, and each individual android has the same mind and memories. This has so much great potential. The Guenevir Frankie fights may be all broken up, but she would still be connected to all the other Guenevirs too, right? It leads me to wonder if she was able to sense Sir Arthur because another Guenevir noticed it somewhere else. She's a character who can literally be in multiple places at once. Now, I know everyone likes to bring up the Disney parallels, considering what happened with the Owl House, as well as some comments that Dana Terrace made in an interview with Kevin Lerd-Witchigal. I'm sure that it's intentional, but I think too many people treat Knights of Guinevere solely as a Disney critique, when, while that's certainly a part of it, it's only a single aspect of it. One thing I don't see many people talk about is how genuinely funny it is.
You have to tell me if Sparky's doing something illegal. You have to tell me if he's hurt someone. In the last 8 hours?
I think this might be the funniest of Glitch's pilots, and its ending is so brilliant. The way Guinevere waits until Frankie and Andy can't see her before she goes all out on Sir Arthur, almost like a parent who wants to protect their kids, but shielding them from having to see that violence that could scar them emotionally. I also love how the fight is completely hidden and all we see is a splatter of red blood, and it takes a second to realize, oh wait, Gwen bleeds blue. That's so peak, I love it. I was originally going to rank this at number 2, but I think this could have used another 2 or 3 minutes to better establish Olivia and make a few of the scene transitions feel more natural. I also just ended up loving another pilot even more. Knights of Guinevere gets a 9 out of 10. Glitch, please greenlight this already! I can't take it anymore! In the runner-up position, it's the Gaslight District. This was a big surprise to me. I've always really liked this pilot, and I had re-watched it pretty recently, but I still went into this video expecting to rank it second to last. But after this rewatch, yeah, it deserves to be placed this high. This contains the best animation from anything Glitch has made, not just their pilots. These characters have super fluid cartoony movements, but there's still a solid tangibility and weight to everything. And the use of color is amazing, with the Gaslight District itself being all grimy, gross and green, compared to the Stairway to Heaven filled with purple, the complete opposite color. And then there's Paradise Lost with its bright and clean white, representing the virtues with their clean and shiny cybernetic bodies. Normally I hate it when animation tries too hard to be hyper realistic, but the incredible detail in this is one of those times that it really works, since it greatly emphasizes the Rotling's, well, rotten life. The music is also awesome. I love that drum beat that plays during the chase against Jack. It just feels so fucking good. These characters are all so cool and fun. Mel is such a good character, and a big reason for that is Alana Fitzgerald's performance.
All Jack needed to do was answer correctly, and Papa would have shown him some mercy.
Their voice is so fun. Mel would not be anywhere near as compelling without them.
Dad? What do we do now?
I've seen many people say that the pacing in this is too fast. I get that, but I don't think it's that big of an issue. I honestly feel like the fast pace works to its benefit. Sometimes, especially during the Jack chase and the infiltration of Paradise Lost, it makes it feel more exhilarating, which really helps you feel how Mel feels. The world is already really interesting. I'm so excited to learn more about it soon. I want to see more of what the average life of the Rotlings is. What happened between Ken and Temperance? How will Mud and Redhead react when they inevitably find out Mel is the human? Oh boy, I can't wait. The Gaslight District pilot gets a 9 out of 10, but despite how much I love it, it's still not my number one. And it was never even remotely close. I didn't even need to rewatch this to know it would easily take the number one spot, but I still rewatched it anyway because the Amazing Digital Circus pilot is so unfathomably brilliant. It's kinda insane how good it is. I'm convinced Gooseworks is an actual god sent down to Earth, because how else do you explain the sheer brilliance of this pilot? Everything is brilliantly established, starting with the wacky side of things, with a rapid fire pace that perfectly shows off Kane's hyperactive and unstable personality. Then the fast pace grinds to a halt in an instant. That whiplash expertly portrays how Pomni is feeling right now. All the characters are established really well. Even Kinger, Gangle and Zubul, who don't get much to do, still make a big enough of an impression that you have a basic understanding of who they are and the relationships they have with each other. I've seen a lot of people in recent months start hating on this pilot, and to that I say, what the fuck are you talking about? This is literally one of the greatest things I've seen in my life. This absolutely deserved the insane hype it got back in 2023. Establishing 7 characters and a unique world all in just 25 minutes with hilarious comedy and absolutely phenomenal music create what is by far the best Glitch pilot. And what really seals the deal is the ending. Pomni's existential dread being shown through these amazing facial expressions, her blank stare, the close-up of her eyes, the slow zoom in of her losing it more and more as the music builds and builds, zooming in closer to represent her feeling trapped as the frame closes in on her before the music cuts out when showing the old computer and we get hit with that god-like title card. Oh my god, absolute peak. And by the way, I think this is the weakest episode of the Amazing Digital Circus. I need this show injected into my veins!